Hey, welcome back. This is Eric Hatch with Century 21 coming from the beautiful Sierra foothills of California. Just wanted to share the July market update. I know there's a lot of news going on and kind of what's happening with the economy and stuff. So let's dive in and check this out. So here's what we got. Yes, there's an economic slowdown. Everybody feels it. Everybody can kind of see it coming. But what was interesting, though, is the recession fear surge among the CEOs. So when you listen to all of their large CEOs, 3/4 of the global CEOs say that we are in a recession or will be in the next 12 to 18 months, according to a new survey from the Wall Street Journal. So I will also tell you that a recession is when we have two negative GDP quarters in a row. So when the GDP is negative for 2 quarters in a row, that is when we have a recession, and we just had both of them. So that's where we're kind of at. So we understand it's kind of hard to believe since I started real estate that this will be my fourth recession going through. And I'll tell you right now, everyone, the prices of real estate continue to go up, and I'm going to share that with you right here. So I want to share that throughout history during a recession period, interest rates go up at the beginning of the recession, but in order to come out of recession, interest rates are lower by stimulate the economy and moving forward. Historically, we have seen a repeated uptick in interest rates followed by a lower interest rate. So I want to share that with you because that's basically what we're kind of seeing here in this tradition. And I want to share that the real estate market, the housing prices, the real estate market always leads going out of a recession. So when we come back out, there's going to be a big hike there on probably lower interest rates, and the housing prices will start increasing. So let me share with you. Guys, we've got some of these you can see here way back when we had interest rates at 18%. And yes, some of us, I was not there in the homeownership at that time, but I certainly, this is where I began right here around the 10 and 12% interest rate is when I first bought my first home. And then again, interest rates went down. So what do? We refinance. So I'm kind of sharing with you guys right now is that yes, the interest rates, some of you might think, wow, they're like 5%, 5.5%. That seems so high. Do I even buy a home? Guys, we were at 18% at one time, so it's still really inexpensive. And here's the deal. When the recession in the next year or they're saying 12 to 18 months, when it starts going back down, they will come back down. Buy now, because I'm going to share something with you that you'll love, because you can just refinance when there. And if you actually wait maybe another 6 months to purchase a property, you might be going, wow, I should have listened to Eric before and purchased a home. So let me show you kind of what basically happens. And you can see the interest rates are here, and now they're kind of starting to come back up there. But look at this. So here's the recession in the 80s. They had some interest rates here that were 16%. They dropped down to 11 coming out of the recession, 18 to 13, 11 to 8, 7 to 6. And you can see right here recently 3.8 coming out of the COVID-19 recession that we were coming out of, that we had 2.8 is kind of where we had the bottom there. So at the end of each of these recessions, the interest rates will traditionally start coming down, as you can see. So let's look at something new. Over the past 5 recessions, mortgage rates have fallen an average of 1.8% points from the peak seen during the recession through. And in many cases, they continue to fall after the fact, and it takes some time to turn things around, even when the recession is typically over, from Fortune magazine. And so here's what we got, guys. Recession does not equal a housing crisis. Right there, housing crisis. And this is interesting to look at. In 1980, these are all the recessions that we just talked about. A 6%, 3.5, only 91. We had the first one of negative 1.9. And yes, you know, the horrible 2018 crash of 19, almost 20%. But look at all the other ones that we were coming out. So we're right there. And it does not mean that the pricing is going to be lowering or we're going to have a bubble, is what they do not fear that we're going to have. So let's talk about a little bit about inventory here. Okay. So we want to talk about this, that yes, offers received are down. Yes, offers over asking are down. Yes, the sales are down. 61% of the offers received a month ago were over the asking price, and now they're about 55%. So you still have still homes coming in with multiple offers on them, but it is declining, but inventory is rising. Do you guys remember about 6 months to a year ago, those who were trying to buy a home, how frustrating it was where you had to put offers on 5, 6 homes, losing some of the best homes that you've seen and losing them, and then having to overbid them 100,000, 50,000, 30,000, some cases 200,000 over asking price just to be able to land the house of your dreams? what a beautiful market is right now to be able to purchase a home and knowing that you have more choices to choose from and more inventory and so many more houses. Yes, interest rates are a little bit higher than they were, but you don't have to be overbidding on these homes. So excited about that. There has been a pickup in the inventory, and that's where we've seen recently, but it's not from a big increase in new listings, but a rather slowdown in the pace of sales. And remember that the month supply measures the inventory of sales relative to the pace of the sales. Same inventory, fewer sales means more month supply. So the sales from a year ago today are down 10%. Pending sales are about down 19%. So there is a little bit of slowdown on that, but it's increasing the opportunities for us to be able to purchase some properties. So here's where we've got. In January, we had about a 1.6 month of inventory. So if no other houses came on the market, it would take us to clear in the nation about 1.5 months of inventory to go. And yes, we have had a small tick up to 2.6, but it gives us choices. So here we are from year to year, from 21 to 22. You can see we're not really off too bad coming through here. We're kind of even. We just have this little pickup right here of inventory, but again, gives us so many more options for you as a buyer. And this talks about the forecast. This is the end of the year forecast. Here we come, 2017, 18, 19, 20, and this is what we closed in 2021. So 2 amazing years that we did. We're way above the average of around this point, and now they're forecasting for this year that we will be back to about 5.4 million homes that will sell in 2022. So again, going back to our 2019 kind of normalcy of a market. So when people think, hey, it's crashing, what's going on? We're just turning back to normal. Can you guys expect to get appreciation levels of 19 to 25% every single year for real estate? It wasn't going to keep happening. Home sales have essentially returned to levels, there we go, of 2019 prior to the pandemic after 2 years of gangbuster performance, says the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors. Active inventory continued to grow, rising 21% above a year ago. In other words, we're starting to add more options, but the market needs even more before home shoppers have a selection that's roughly equivalent to the pre-pandemic market. So our inventory was way higher than it is now. So don't panic, that things are going to crash, because it just, again, gives us more options right there. So I want to share this with you. Is the original forecast in 2022, they were forecasting the inventory to spike about just a little bit of increase, about 0.03 of inventory. It's actually shot up to 15%. They just re-updated their forecast. So by the end of the year, we're going to have an increase of 15% of inventory for people to go out and buy. We should start seeing less competition, fewer bidding wars, and therefore less upward price pressure. In fact, a simple analysis shows that a 1 month increase in the month supply results in a 3% decline annualized house price growth. And our preliminary house price index is already showing a moderation in house price in April, says another chief economist. So here's the question. Should I buy a home right now? And let me share why you should. And yes, there is so many negative news about the bubbles and the cooling housing market and housing prices decelerating, and then housing home in the wrong time to buy would backfire. Guys, if you have a job and you know that you're going to stay in the house for 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, national average used to be 7. Now it's actually picking up a little bit more, closer to maybe 8 to 9 years of people living in their home. But let me show you what this is. Deceleration of home prices does not mean depreciating home prices. Here it is. This is what, and if you guys watch some of my past videos here, you'll see that these used to actually be a lot less. They used to be like 6 and 7 and 8%. Now look what all Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, CoreLogic, they're saying the forecast for home price forecast for 22 appreciation is on an average about 8.5%. And so there they are. So it's still going to go ahead and appreciate. So yes, maybe the interest rate's a little bit higher, but if you buy now and refinance later if you so wish to do so, the appreciation just makes total sense. Because look at this right here. If your estimated home performance, and I'll move my little picture here, the performance from December to December, here are the forecasts of the appreciation that's going to happen. So 2022, we had around that 9.3, 4.9, so it's going to slow down, 3.12, 3.46, and 4. Some of you might ask right now, well, what is normal? And normal is 3.5%. So if you go back way back when, 3.5% is about your normal appreciation every single year. So the last 2 years, crazy crazy, crazy. So here we are just getting back to normals. But if you add all these numbers up, this is like over 20%. So if I sat there as a buyer and thought, I'm just going to sit on the fence and I'm just going to wait for maybe 2 to 5 years, you just lost 20% of growth, of appreciation, of growth. So guys, this is where we're kind of headed right here. All right, let me keep going here. We've got the root issue is what drives house prices almost always is supply and demand. This is by Dave Ramsey. And now interest rates affect that. When interest rates go up, guess what? Fewer buyers. The demand goes down, and thus prices are going to soften or not to be as cray-cray as they have been. And what we are going to, that's what we're seeing right now. And Dave Ramsey's totally right on. And that's what we're seeing. You're seeing all these other aspirational prices of home sellers are trying to get these prices that just, wow, they're just like way up there. And you're starting to see the new inventory coming and going, we can't match that anymore. And they're starting to be more, just more in line with things. And so you're seeing the decreasing value. So when you're out there looking at down arrows everywhere that prices are decreasing, the value actually has been the same. Maybe it's softening a little bit because buyers aren't there, but those who have these crazy prices are having to come down, and that's the ones that you're going to be seeing them reducing the prices. All these other homes that are popping on the market, 5 days on the market, 10 days in the market, 2 offers, 3 offers, that's because they're being more realistic and where the value really should be. So thank you, David, for sharing that. And this is what's happening right here, guys. It's so important that you can see the single family housing units completed. I'll go back to that slide. That you're seeing right here is why the bubble is just not going to happen. Back in 2008, when all the home builders completely lost their shorts and completely went into foreclosure and just had, not all of them, but a lot of them just stopped building. They just stopped building. And we've had 14 straight years below the 50-year average of properties being built. And so you look at that right there, and that's why we're not going to have a bubble, because we still have a housing shortage in the United States. And finally, we're just about to get above that average. So that's really good to see. So U.S. population by generation. I just wanted to share something here. This was new here, guys, the Generation Alpha. So if you were born in 2013 to present, congratulations. You have a new name called Alpha. So we've got Generation Z, the millennials, and I want to share this little graphic right here, because right here is that we've got the 81% of first-time home buyers fall into this group right here, the peak buying years. And total of 43% total of all buyers are in this group as well. So you've got this going on, that there's just a high demand of this millennial generation that are all coming in saying, I need to buy a house, I want to buy a home. And so the pressures of that buying power is still going to move through between the age of 20 and 34. So that is our population there. Experts don't believe the market is in a bubble or a crash, is that it's in the cards. Like during the Great Recession, the nation is still suffering from a housing shortage that has reached crisis proportions at a time when many millennials are reaching that age when they start to consider home ownership. That's likely to keep prices high, says Realtor.com. All right, guys, thank you very much. I hope that 13 minutes, that was a little longer than normal, but I appreciate it. One other little tidbit here, guys, just want to share this really quick, because people ask me about the percentage of distressed properties that, well, I'm just going to wait, get a bank repo, or I'm just going to get a sale, foreclosure, whatever it might be. Check it out. We are less than 1%, and we've been that way for a while. So guys, all the forbearance and the people getting out of that through the 2019, that little crisis and stuff, we are not seeing that inventory pop up in the foreclosure market. So please, you guys have any more additional questions, reach out to me, connect on any type of social media platform. Happy to help, happy to answer any questions, and we will talk to you next month. Take care.